All right, welcome back. So we'll take a look at some of those developments as they're playing out in Kwara State. We do know that the governor was a little livid, yeah, as the reports also did make that clear, how some of those cases turned out in the state. So there's a total lockdown now in Offa. We understand that they did brief His Royal Highness, the Offa, on what they expect of them. But yes, the government will hopefully will get across to them soon and get to get a perspective on the goings on there. But speaking about the particular area where that lockdown is, we do have His Royal Highness Mufti Agbademosi, the Offa, joining us this morning from Ilorin. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Well, could you give us a scenario now? What is going on in Offa at the moment?
Right now in Offa, everywhere is calm. Everybody is obeying the lockdown as a lot of the Navy, police, and civil defense are out there because everybody is fully aware of what is going to happen today. So everybody is staying at home right now.
Could you give us a scenario? How was this case misjudged? What, from your understanding, what do you think happened?
Well, to us here, we don't know anything. We are only told that somebody that was buried some days ago had coronavirus, which the people of the town are not aware. So they brought in the dead body for burial, and the person is a free giver, so nobody knew what happened. So a lot of people trooped to his house to sympathize with the wife and mourn with her. So that is exactly what happened. Nobody knew that he had any infections before the burial because he was not living in Offa. He's living in a lorry. So he was not living in Offa. So when they brought him, everybody received him and buried him.
But what the information we were made to understand is that the Kwara State government had been very proactive in this, announcing this, to everybody in the state before this outbreak. Are you saying now that nobody in the town in Offa town was aware of anything called coronavirus?
No, everybody is aware of the coronavirus, but this particular person, what led to his death, nobody knows. Because they brought him from the teaching hospital, and the belief of everybody is if it were to be coronavirus, they will not even release the dead body to us. And because he came from the teaching hospital without any information of such a disease, that was why people trooped there. It is not that the town is not aware. The town is aware of what is happening, but we are not aware of what led to his death.
All right, we understand the scenario, but is there panic at the moment? Because, I mean, you could imagine how some people will react if they attended the burial, if they touched several people without knowing what actually happened in terms of why he died, and then find out later what happened. What's the mood? Are they panicky? Do they understand why things have to
Serious
go that
panic.
way? Go ahead, please.
There is serious panic in the town because since about 2 days ago we were told that it was because of the coronavirus that led to his death. The town, everywhere in the town was deserted. Everybody had to run to his houses, and those that had partial contact and went to the house were all gathered somewhere in readiness for whatever the NCDC would want to do with them. They were ready for isolation. I think the deputy governor himself was with me here yesterday, and they had about 78, which they took most of them to Ilorin for isolation.
So it means you have a huge responsibility now, because we understand that you have been briefed of what the issues and developments are. So how are you then carrying out that responsibility in educating the people what has happened, what they should expect? For instance, are people willing and ready to submit themselves for tests? Are they conducting and sticking with this lockdown?
Yes, everybody, most of the community are all aware of what really happened. And in fact, most of them are coming out willingly, telling us that they visited the house. They were among the people that went for the burial, and we should tell them what next to do. And we educate them that some of them has to quarantine themselves in an isolated place for 14 days, while the NCDC people will be checking on them from time to time. They are all ready to cooperate. And that was why we're able to get such a huge number of about 78 within 2 days, because all of them are ready to cooperate. They are willingly submitting themselves for a checkup.
With this lockdown comes the usual. I mean, people can't go to work. A lot of people can't conduct their businesses. So there's an obvious need, an obvious shortfall. And I understand that there's been some form of palliatives, but the big, worry is the fact that this will not go around. In fact, the government said that this will not go around, and they mentioned some category of people. So the question is, what is the plan for others who, yeah, they might not be disabled, but yes, they have some need at this point. Their businesses have been shut down. So is there any plan for palliatives? Because I understand that there's been a committee made up of religious leaders, traditional rulers and all that. What is the plan for the people?
Yes, apart from the palliative the government gave, the people of the community, I knew of a club that give about 2,000 household, 2,000 people, 10,000 naira. And the ODU of its own gave about 12,000 bag of semovita and rice, beans, that will go around apart from what the government is giving. So we are fully ready because this thing is worldwide. So we have educated a lot of the people in the town, and we have made all necessary preparation within our own pulse to ameliorate the suffering of our people.
There's also this challenge of, misinformation. I mean, you've heard people trying different remedies, local remedies, traditional remedies, just in a bid to forestall the spread of COVID-19. So I'd like to know, what kind of sensitization are you giving people? What are you telling them they should do, they should not do, especially as you get the advice from a medical team? So what are you telling people in that regard?
What we tell them mostly is to try as much as possible to keep social distance, washing of hands. Right from about some 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, the government has given us a lot of soaps and hand sanitizers that mostly like every 30 minutes, 1 hour, we should wash our hands, use our hand sanitizer and keep social distance. And Offa being what we are, yeah, most of us here are educated, and they were fully briefed on the need to keep social distance. And in the case of the market, where they don't tend to want to obey the social distance, the police and the civil defense are there to control the crowd. That is before yesterday, before the lockdown took place yesterday by 6 in the evening. So they have been observing the social distance.
This lockdown of a town will definitely come certain risks that may or may not have been foreseen before now. From where you sit as the traditional ruler in that environment, what are the risks that you foresee that this lockdown may bring to the people, and what are your own plans with or without government's hand in it?
You see, we've been following this thing ever since before it was discovered that I had 2 cases of coronavirus, and we know the lockdown will soon go everywhere. So we had been preparing for this. We know it will happen. And we know at the end of the day, it will affect a lot of businesses because there are a lot of people that they need to go out every day to make their ends meet. And with this lockdown, we know the result will not be too good It will bring a setback to the town, especially for those that goes on their normal business on day to day, and for everybody to say everyone should go in and not come out for days. It is a problem, but
Let,
it's something that we just have to abide by it because it is worldwide, not only Offa.
as we wind down now, tell us, are you dealing with any case, or could there be potential cases of stigmatization as a result of what has happened?
Right now, since everybody is locked down, we wouldn't know, but from other community, it is believed that when you are from Offa, you cannot go to any other community around you. They will say, hey, he has been corona, he has been corona. That is just it. But they are calling me, and I'm trying to let them know that because you are from Offa and you work in Offa, relocated to your village now because of the lockdown does not mean you have corona. So I'm speaking to their traditional rulers, and they are complying and speaking to their people. A case like that happened yesterday when in a community an Okada rider, because of the lockdown, an Okada rider has to relocate to his town, and they drove him out of the town that he has corona because he's coming from Offa.
All right, then. We do appreciate your time this morning, and we hope that everyone will just stay safe as much as they can, perhaps with your help as well. So that was His Royal Highness Muftar Gbadamosi, the Olofa Offa. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll also try and get across to the Commissioner for Health in the States to see how they're dealing with this.
What he said last is quite important, the issue of stigmatization. And
yeah.
we've seen the NCDC and the Ministry of Health, stay on this. We're not going to reveal their identities so that, when you hear the name, you will not stigmatize as well as other reasons. But it's important for us to ensure that this is not something we drag on for too long. You can imagine just an individual trying to go to his own place and they say, because you're from this particular place where 2 cases were recorded, then you're not allowed here. I think it's important for us to get the facts right. Yes, he probably should quarantine himself for a certain period because he's traveling from that area, but then there should be no stigmatization. More than any time, this is a time for us to actually share hope, share love. Be human.
I think one cheering news that I took away from that conversation, and which is something that we had been advocating over and over again, is that the town was substantially ready. They had prepared themselves, they had educated their people, and this is the same thing that we want to say to them.
Now we do have Dr. Raji Razaki, the Commissioner for Health in Kwara State. He joins us on the line this morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. So how is Kwara State handling with, I think it's dropped at the moment. So call drop. So battling with that and just trying to see how we can sort all of that. But we're working on getting him back on the line to give us, because look, if that spreads, saying, look, if you're from Offa, no, you brought this, that will not be good. So they've got a job of work to do in Kwara State.
Absolutely. And if you take a look at the figures, let's just run through what has been happening. Yesterday is Thursday, 9th. So let's see what happened last week, Thursday, the figures in Nigeria. This time we had, I think, 98 cases in the country, thereabouts, 98 cases. In Lagos, I should say, 98 cases in Lagos and 184 in the country entirely. Today we have 274 cases.
Yeah.
Right, 76. So basically, this is still progressing. This is a time for us to, yes, we're looking at the figures, we're seeing what is happening. Oh, yeah, we have a commissioner back.
Okay, Commissioner, first of all, let's check this out. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Dr. Razaki, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Could you then tell us, Dr. Razaki, I'm just going because we're hoping that it comes through. Now, this is a serious matter that Kwara State has got on its hands now. How is the state approaching this at the moment?
Cases at hand confirmed, and the 2 cases are in our isolation centers, admitted, and we are taking care of them. Within the community, we have declared a total lockdown in our local government because the incident cases are from our local government, and the palliatives have been deployed to of our people so that we can give some support to the people of the community. And we want to set up a second isolation center in of our local government. We are converting the general hospital to isolation center. Then within the Loring community, we have our main isolation center there where we can treat our patients, and we have quarantine centers as well.
Well, it may appear as though the state is getting the short end of the stick because, I mean, are you looking at possible worst case scenario as a result of how this appeared in Kwara State, and what will that be?
Okay, we know how virulent this disease could be, and that is why our rapid response team have swung into action. Since the day we discovered that we have positive cases in Kwara State, we've increased the number of contact tracing and the surveillance rate. Then we've organized training for our local government diseases surveillance and notification officials across the state local government, and the community informants have been sensitized. The clinicians have been trained and sensitized. PPEs have been deployed across all our hospitals and within the isolation and treatment centers.
What kind of support have you received or are you expecting from the federal government, concerning this issue that has broken out in Kwara?
Yeah, we are working in collaboration with NCDC. Just day before yesterday, NCDC, the moment they understand that we have positive cases in Kwara, they sent their team down to Kwara. As I'm talking to you, the NCDC team is in Kwara State to strengthen our system. And by 4 p.m. today, we are having our EOC, and then the NCDC team will be there to give us the needed support. And the NCDC also brought some items donated to Kwara State to augment what we have on ground. And when they came on ground, they were very, very happy with what they met on ground at the level of preparedness of the state. Because as I'm talking to you presently, we have more than 8 ventilators that the state government had procured. We have defibrillators, we have patient monitors, we have ICU bed and mattresses, and at the level of our state, we are fully prepared. And we are still working in tandem with NCDC.
Any idea how long the state is going to have this shut down for?
Yeah, for now, we target 2 weeks. So that within these 2 weeks, we'll have completed all our contact tracing. And if there's any one of them that is manifesting any symptoms of COVID, and we take the sample, then we'll now determine what next. But at least now, we have just only 2 cases confirmed. All the other samples sent came back negative.
Okay,
and
so
more samples will be taken later.
Equally important, the stimulus package. What is the state preparing for the people?
We have palliatives, and we've started government by local government. The palliatives that are sent to, that is meant for Offa was sent yesterday to Offa people. And the other local governments will continue in line with the timetable that are already been scheduled. We will give all the 16 local government of Kwara State palliatives to give them some support so that the effect will not be felt too much for this lockdown.
All right, Dr. Rajesh Razaki, Commissioner for Health, Kwara State, thank you very much indeed, and we hope that the state handles this properly. Wish you all the best. We're back in a moment. Stay with us.